Hey, what's up, people? JayDub here with my thoughts on WWE's latest pay-per-view, Fatal 4-Way. I'm going to be giving you guys the results of the matches and also my thoughts, my opinions, and the highlights according to me. If you aren't subscribed, make sure you click that subscribe button up there. Thanks. On to the first match of the night. It was for the Intercontinental Championship. The champion, Kofi Kingston, was defending his belt versus Drew McIntyre. Kofi Kingston ends up winning this match with assistance from Teddy Long and also Matt Hardy. I will say that this match was better than their last, a lot better than their last matches they had at a pay-per-view. This match was, they had more chemistry in this match. It was a little bit more fast-paced. Drew McIntyre actually impressed me a bit in this match. I still have some issues with his character, and I don't really like Drew McIntyre, at all. But I will say that this was the first time that he ever impressed me in ring-wise. So it gets to a point in the match where the referee gets knocked out. Drew McIntyre, he hits his finisher on Kofi Kingston, but the ref isn't even up to make the count. So he goes to pull Teddy Long, who was sitting at ringside, into the ring, and then he's taking for fucking ever to get Teddy Long. What he's trying to do is have Teddy Long make the count and have Drew McIntyre be crowned as the new Intercontinental Champion. But he takes the referee's shirt off and then throws it to Teddy Long. I'm thinking, what the hell are you wasting your time for? Like, does he need a referee's shirt on to perform as a referee? Like, that didn't make any sense to me. But yeah, he was wasting all his time. Then, Teddy Long, he didn't make the count. He stopped before he hit 3. Then, Drew McIntyre goes to hit his finisher, tries to go hit it on Kofi Kingston once again. And that's when Matt Hardy rolls out, hits Twist of Fate. And then Kofi Kingston hits Drew McIntyre with the Trouble in Paradise. Pins him 1, 2, 3, retains his championship. Like I said, this was a lot better than the last match they had at pay-per-view. On to the second match of the night. Divas Championship was on the line in a Fatal 4-Way. Alicia Fox versus Maryse versus Eve versus Gail Kim. Alicia Fox was crowned your new Divas Champion. I mean, what can I say about this match? It was a WWE Divas match. Take that for what it's worth. But yeah, Eve, she kind of impressed me a bit in this match. She hit a swinging neck breaker on Maryse. Then she goes for a moonsault off the top rope. She hits that, but that's when Alicia Fox rolls in. She throws Eve out of the ring, pins Maryse 1, 2, 3. She's crowned your new Divas Champion. The problem that I have with Eve is, sure, she pulls out a couple of nice spots in the match. Like, I can tell that she's trying to improve, but she needs to be more consistent throughout the entire match, because it's like she sucks for most of the match as far as her wrestling ability goes, but then she throws out this nice spot where she's doing, just some kind of nice move, and she looks good, but she needs to be more consistent throughout her matches, but she is improving. And I will say I'm a big fan of Alicia Fox because she isn't your typical WWE diva who acts like they don't want to take bumps and act like they're too pretty to get hurt a little bit. She kind of oversells, but when most of the divas undersell, I think that's a good thing. So I'm a big fan of Alicia Fox. Congratulations to her. Third match of the night, Bourne versus Chris Jericho. Before the match, we got Chris Jericho out there cutting a promo, talking about how he worked so hard to get to the top of the mountain, and he was trying to knock people off. Now that he's at the top of the mountain, people are trying to knock him off. It was a really, really great promo, and I was kind of thinking like, it kind of seems like he's about to leave or something. And I was thinking that he was going to say, oh, if I lose this match versus Bourne, I'm done, or something like that, but that's not at all what he said. But it was a really great promo, and it set up for the match very well. So it was Bourne versus Chris Jericho. Bourne ends up winning this match with, what else? The Shooting Star Press. But this time, Chris Jericho was face down on the mat. He hits it, and Bourne, he gets a win over the first undisputed world champion in WWE. So, yeah, this was the match of the night. It was such a great match. A lot of reversals, a lot of counters, a lot of false finishes. Bourne, he kicked out of the, well, he didn't kick out. He got to the ropes from Chris Jericho's code breaker. But yeah, this was a great match. You really have to see this match. It was pretty good. On to the fourth match of the night. Rey Mysterio versus Jack Swagger versus CM Punk versus Big Show. World Heavyweight Championship on the line in a Fatal 4-Way match. Rey Mysterio is crowned your new World Heavyweight Champion. Honestly, he was like the last on my list. When I was going over who I thought was going to win this match, Rey Mysterio was the last person I would have thought, and it was such a surprise to see him win, and it was a really great surprise as far as I'm concerned. So he ends up pinning Jack Swagger after the 619, and he hits Jack Swagger with a splash, and then he pins him. CM Punk, he wasn't even involved with the finish of the match. I don't know where the hell Big Show was. He wasn't even in the ring. But CM Punk, he was ran off by Kane. We saw on Friday Night SmackDown, Kane was saying the person had attacked his brother. He was going to get vengeance upon them. So he comes out with the casket, and then he goes straight for CM Punk, tries to throw him in the casket, but Luke Gallows, he runs out, helps CM Punk get away from Kane, and they run to the back. Kane chases after him. So Rey Mysterio, he wins this match. I didn't really like this match because it was too much focus on the Big Show for like the first half of the match. They were just, focusing on the Big Show. It was just all about the Big Show. Somebody would run up, he would slap him out of the way, then somebody else would run up, and it was just too much focus on him and not enough focus on the rest of the guys. But it has some good action in it. But I like the WWE Championship Fatal 4-Way a lot more than I like this one. On to the fifth match of the night, The Miz versus R-Truth for the United States Championship. The Miz ends up retaining this match, and retaining his championship, and what I think, if I recall correctly, it was by a roll-up. So yeah, this match, I didn't really like this match. I don't like this pairing of The Miz and R-Truth. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of R-Truth at all. Why not put John Morrison in his place? After all that we've seen with R-Truth, he's been with Ted DiBiase. Then he wins the United States Championship. Now he's in a pay-per-view match with The Miz. Why not put John Morrison in this place? I'm not a fan of R-Truth at all. And this match, it was stale. This match, it was boring to me. And yeah, I think they need to develop The Miz's in-ring persona a lot more than what they do. Start giving him, longer matches. Start showcasing his in-ring skills a lot more, because we all know Miz is great on the mic, but I don't know what his style is in the ring. I can't say he has a definite style. Of course he has his, signature moves and things, but, The Miz, he needs to define his in-ring style a lot more than what I've been seeing. Sixth match of the night, Hart Dynasty versus the Usos and Tamina. The Hart Dynasty end up winning this match. Natalya, she pins Tamina after her natty by nature finisher. So yeah, this match, it was the crowd was really dead during this match, just as they were the Miz and R-Truth match. But I would say it was some pretty good action in there. I like the Hart Dynasty, Tyson Kidd, David Hart Smith. I like, their in-ring style, and of course Natalya, she's one of the best women's wrestlers in WWE right now, but we never get to see her in the ring. She's used very sparingly in the ring. She's more of a manager than she is a wrestler, and that's pretty sad, seeing as she is one of the best female wrestlers on the WWE roster. But yeah, she completely showed up the four girls that were wrestling for a championship earlier in the night. But yeah, this was it was a good match, nothing too spectacular, but I'm wondering, why would you have the Usos? First off, you have them in their debut match on Superstars facing Mark Henry and Goldust. And then you have them booked on a pay-per-view, not even for the championships, and they still lose the match. I'm not really understanding that. But on to the seventh and final match of the night, WWE Championship, Sheamus versus John Cena versus Edge versus Randy Orton. Sheamus was crowned your new WWE Champion, and we all knew it was going to happen. We didn't know when it was going to happen. We didn't know how it was going to happen, but we all knew the NXT rookies were going to get involved in this match somehow, and they actually, helped Sheamus win this championship. So they showed them the NXT rookies, tearing up a couple of guys backstage. Then they run out to the ring, just as they did, a couple of weeks ago. And they attacked John Cena. Actually, they attacked all of the guys in the match. But, I think Sheamus, he got away a bit. I think he got away because I think that allowed him to jump in the ring. After the NXT rookies took out John Cena, he jumps in the ring, gets a sneak pin on John Cena, jumps over the barricade, runs off, doesn't even think about getting the championship. And I wouldn't blame him. He would probably be like, hell, send me that shit on UPS. As long as I got it, I know it's mine. Just send it to me from UPS. So he runs off, but then he appears at the top of the stage with his championship. Then the NXT rookies run after him too. But yeah, they leave John Cena, Randy Orton, and Edge completely laid out. And that's how the pay-per-view ended. I will say this pay-per-view, Intercontinental Championship, that was a good match. We had Evan Bourne versus Chris Jericho, as I said, match of the night. Hart Dynasty versus the Usos, that was a good match also. And I liked how the WWE Championship match was booked. It was kind of like a the ending of it was debatable. I was thinking that Sheamus, he was going to get the championship. Like, before this whole NXT thing started, my pick to get the championship was Sheamus, because I'm thinking Triple H, he's going to come back pretty soon and look for vengeance upon Sheamus, and then, you know, that'll put Triple H, you know, closer to that 14th World Championship. So, yeah, but after this whole NXT thing started, I didn't know where it was going to go. I was thinking maybe John Cena was going to keep it, but, you know, this ending was a little bit too similar to the NXT rookies invading Raw for the first time, so I'm kind of wary to see how this goes. And also, Bret Hart, he didn't even appear on the show. Mr. McMahon, he came out at the top of the show, and he was talking about how Bret Hart wasn't going to be there. So I'll be tuned in to Monday Night Raw tomorrow to see how everything goes. I am JayDub. Overall, I would say this pay-per-view, I would give it maybe a 7.25. It wasn't horrible. It was just some of the stuff wasn't that all exciting, but I will say Evan Bourne versus Chris Jericho. I'll repeat it once again. That was the match of the night. So I am JayDub. Peace out.